Hello, everybody. Intuition here. Thank you, as always, for making time and space for us. Today, we want to talk about the importance of the human body and why you should give a shit about it or not, if that's your choice. Equally valid. But there seems to be a lot of misinformation, at least in the way that we understand the purpose of the human body and why it is important on some level for some of us in our evolutionary track to have a human body, and therefore potentially treat it with respect in your own definition of whatever that looks like. But again, why the hell do we have it? What is the importance? Do we choose this human body for a specific reason while we're up in the stars somewhere talking to Jesus and God and Buddha and saying, wow, that's the perfect body with the perfect family? I could see the whole future right there before I even go into this body, and therefore I know it's going to be perfect for me. That seems to be the misinformation that we hear most of the time from many spiritualists, religionists, insanists, whatever the hell you want to call them. But again, that is not how we see what the body is used for or why you would choose to be in a human body. Because it seems quite silly to us. And just because it's silly to us, we do not mean to invalidate somebody else's perspective. So please don't get up on your high horse and ride away before you listen to our understanding, or go on your high horse and run away. You do you. However, how we understand that process with regards to even choosing a human body is as simple as there is no spiritual counsel, there is no foresight in knowing all the potentialities of what it is that's going to happen within the human existence in the body and the life that it is that you're going to choose. Because if you had all that information, if you knew all that, then what the hell would the point of you coming into this body be for? That is like you being a god, which you are, saying, I want to have the experience of an ant. Why? Not to say that that's not interesting and invaluable. However, you've already had the experience of the ant. That is how you got to being a god. So it is not as if you are sitting somewhere in the ether, sitting on a cloud in heaven saying, well, that is what I want, and that is the perfect family, and that is the body, and that is the experience, and that is the potentiality, and that is what I'm going to choose, and blah, 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 blah. It is not that simple or hard, depending on the way that you want to look at it. It is more along the lines of you not have to. Some universal principalities choose the idea of coming into a human body because they believe it is easier for them to remember all it is that they are by the lesson of knowing yourself through the other. Meaning, if you are disembodied, then the only frame of reference that you have is your own frame of reference based in the universal principality that you are. You do not have the lens of another person to show you what it is that you are and what it is that you are not, like you do when you are in the body of a human body. When you are in a human body, you have another frame of reference because you're always bumping into people, literally and figuratively, literally always bumping into other human beings, their viewpoints, other universal principalities, and how they see you and how they see the world, and they're always reflecting back to you how they are seeing certain things. So then therefore you are always getting an opportunity to say, well, I surely as shit don't agree with that. That sounds fucking crazy. That's definitely not for me. And that forces you then therefore on some level to have to figure out on your own what it is that is more congruent with your own understanding of yourself. So for some universal principalities, they believe that that is a quicker, easier way to come to the understanding of all it is that they are, and therefore to reincarnate is the best avenue in order to be able to do that. However, that is not what all universal principalities choose. Some universal principalities would much rather be alone and figure out their understanding of their evolution through their own lens without having to bump into everybody else and their mother to have to figure it out. There is a silence, there is an understanding of self in that way, much like the idea of somebody, a Buddha, a person sitting under a tree for hundreds of millions of years, just looking and reflecting within their own eyes, within their own eyelids. So it is similar in that idea. that if you are disembodied and you choose the evolutionary route of simply being disembodied, which is equally valid, then there is a potentiality that you remember all it is that you are, not through the lens of the other, but through the lens of your own understanding of what all you are is, not being dissuaded by others and having to go through their own different belief system and value system and having to deal with hurts and pains and varying degrees of separation as well as entanglement that happens when you are within a human body. So both are equally valid. It depends on the universal principality that you identify with and which way you would choose which way to go. But therefore, if you are coming into a human body and choosing to reanimate, reincarnate, then therefore you sure as shit don't know all the things that you would like to know potentially before coming into the human body, because we do not have that remembrance of ourselves to be able to do all of that. And if we did, we sure as shit wouldn't be reincarnating. We'd be continuing in our own evolutionary track the way that we're used to evolving in the space in which we all come from to begin with. We are, in a sense, locked in this density, locked in this place, locked in this universe, locked in this space, until we all decide to move together towards the home in which we all originate from. So all of us have no choice. If we are these 6 universal principalities that created this place, this universe, you do not have a choice in that sense. You must continue to die if you choose to be in a human body, and come back if you choose again to be in a human body, or simply be disembodied and wander the universe, this space in between, figuring out who it is that you are and what it is that you are not through your own lens. But there is no other opportunity in that sense, without remembering all it is that you are, to ascend back to the house, our home, in which we originate from, where there is no such thing as a body or a self in the way that you understand it in density. Does that make sense? It's a lot. It's a lot right there, and we haven't even really got into the purpose of what a human body is for. So yes, the human body is simply the idea that it will help you to remember all it is that you are and what it is that you are not. And not every universal principality chooses to reanimate themselves in another body. They might take a break from reanimating themselves in a human body and simply be disembodied and try their luck at remembering all it is that they are through that way. However, for many universal principalities, they find it easier because when you are in a human body, when you are on this planet, this universe, all the things that you see with your physical eyes is a perfect blend of the 7 universal principalities that are here on this planet. And you may keep on hearing me go from 6 to 7, because it was six universal principalities that fell in density in the remembrance of all it is that they are that created the planet, the universe, and the space. However, again, it was the 7th universal principality that created and holds together the space in which we are all in, that did not actually fall with the 6 universal principalities when they originally fell into this space. That is why 6 is the devil's number, an unholy number. You are 6 feet under. It is because of the 6 universal principalities that are somewhat responsible, in a way, not to lay blame, but that is the understanding that we are in concert with. It is these 6 universal principalities that created this universe, that created the density in order to catch them as they were falling in the remembrance of all it was that they were as universal principalities. But that's another conversation for another day. Regardless of that fact, this place, this space, the human body is a perfect blend of the 7 universal principalities. So therefore, when you enter into a human body, you are balanced out with 7 universal principalities, their viewpoints, their strengths, their weaknesses, as well as your identification with the universal principality that you inherently are. So then, therefore, even if you are alone on a desert island, you still have the balancing effect to bounce up against the other universal principality that is within your own body, so to speak, their lens, their viewpoint, their frame of reference, to be able to better understand what it is that you do or do not agree with within yourself. So it does not matter if you were in a room full of people or you grow up on a desert island like Castaway all by yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you're in a human body, the idea is your potentiality to remember all it is that you are, because you are surrounded by all it is that you are not, goes up exponentially in being able to remember all it is that you are, and therefore having more of a possibility to ascend, for lack of a better word. However, that is a limited term for what it is that we are trying to express. But we will just leave it there at ascend, because that is a whole nother topic as well. So, the idea of the human body, then therefore, is not because we were great big spirits at one time and part of the evolutionary process to become an even greater spirit is the idea to reincarnate and lower yourself, so to speak, and move into a human body. No, 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 no. It is more of the idea that we feel as though we don't have any other choice to remember and get the keys to be able to unlock the door out of this jail cell that the 6 universal principalities created when they were falling in their density and the remembrance of all it is that they were. So that is the point of a human body. The point of a human body is simply for you to have more of an option, more of an opportunity to realize all of yourself by knowing all it is that you are not, by literally bumping into other universal principalities or bumping into different concepts, constructs within yourself that you simply do not agree with and don't understand. But in order for you to understand that, what the human body is, you have to understand truly, honestly, what the human body is and not what you've been indoctrinated into believing the human body is. Because the idea that we chose this body as great spirits in the sky, and then therefore, in knowing all the experiences that the human body would have and coming down to reincarnate, that idea was made up by a certain universal principality that wasn't remembering all it was that it is that they are. And therefore, for you to sit there and believe that gives more power to that universal principality and does not give power to the reality of all it is that you are, unless you are that universal principality, so to speak. But again, that frame of reference is limited because it also doesn't make sense if you think about it. Like we said, why, if you are a god in the way that they're presenting that idea, coming into a human body to have a lesser experience when you even know everything that's going to happen within that time frame that you'd be in a body? What the hell would the point of that be? That's like getting in your car right now and knowing that down the road you're going to get in a car accident and getting in the car accident anyway because you want to have the experience. Why? That doesn't make any sense. You know what the experience is going to be. You want to experience it viscerally. That sounds like you punishing yourself. Are you a masochist? Are you into punishing yourself? Do you fetishize that? If so, assalamu alaikum. Keep on punishing yourself. Ooh, another lash. But if you're not into that, then why would you get into that car and experience a car accident? Genuinely, we do not understand that frame of reference. But that's because we are not that universal principality, and maybe if you understand that, then you identify with the universal principality that created or misremembered that construct. And just because you misremember that construct, it does not mean that you're wrong. It just means that you have a key element of the story as well as a key element of the story that sounds like it's missing, because if it wasn't, that would make more sense. But again, that's how we see it. How we see it is different how you are going to see it. We just postulate that question. And if somebody could tell us what the hell that other piece is that we're missing, then please, we encourage you to shoot us an email. Or not if it's a hate email. So, regardless, the point of a human body is not for your high soul to then come down and have a low experience. It is simply that we do not have any other frame of reference in order to remember all it is that we are. And if we did, we sure as shit would have figured out a better way to do it. So then therefore, we have a human body and a human experience in the hopes that we will remember all it is that we are so that we could go back home and stop living in this insanity that was created when 6 universal principalities fell out of their right mind, misremembering all it is that they were, and therefore that is why this space doesn't make much sense to begin with. So, that is the point of a human body, how we understand it. If you choose to be in a human body, again, some universal principalities choose to understand themselves through the lens of themselves, which is equally valid. A little bit more challenging because, again, in the body, you are a perfect blend of the 7 universal principalities. However, when you are not in body, you literally, the only frame of reference you have is your principality, because you do not have that body to keep on rubbing up against within yourself, because you are not your body. We hope that you know that. So you do not have that body that you keep on hitting up against, as well as you do not have any other bodies that you literally keep on hitting up against. So therefore, your frame of reference is literally only yourself, and therefore you could get lost in yourself as the big universal principality that you are, even if you are disembodied. So, hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. If not, that probably makes the most sense, because apparently we only make sense to certain universal principalities. As always, we thank you for making time and space for us, and we hope that you treat your body with love, kindness, and respect, should you so choose to do so. If not, I'm sure you'll get another one sometime soon, should you disrespect it. So, whether you treat it with love or treat it with insanity, we hope you choose the love part, because that is more in congruence with all it is that you are than you treating it with insanity. But again, who are we to tell fellow universal principalities, to tell fellow lowercase g gods what to do with their own body? But we wish you well in figuring out what it is that you want to do with your body, and hopefully use it for the purpose in which you came in to use it for, which is to remember all it is that you are. Not to work at a dead-end job, not to keep on hooking up with crazy people, not to keep on pushing your body to insane limits to see if you can do certain things. Really, it is just to try and remember all it is that you are, so you get up out of this crazy place in which we created without our whole selves intact to begin with. We wish you well, you, your body, your spirit, your soul, and everything in between.